You're listening to an Airwave Media Podcast.
Hey folks, welcome to the Projection Booth. I'm your host, Mike White. On this special episode, I'm talking to Ariel Wan, who is the Director of Marketing and Programming for the Cinetopia Film Festival. Happens over in Ann Arbor, Detroit, Dearborn, Bloomfield Township, Royal Oak from May 10th to 19th, 2019. We're going to be talking about some of the films that are going to be shown during the festival. I hope you enjoy. Ariel Wan, every year I try to talk to somebody behind the scenes at the Cinetopia Film Festival, and I'm very curious, is there a theme to this year's festival?
There isn't any different theme than what we do normally, which is showing the best films from the best film festivals. The themes that kind of come across all of the films that we end up choosing, they sort of form organically. So maybe one of the things that we think about the most when we're programming our films this year is we wanted them to be delightful. You know, we wanted people to leave these films happy, enjoy what they saw, and not too overly depressed.
The festival runs from May 10th to 19th this year. Is that earlier than usual?
It is. It's about 3 weeks earlier, although sometimes we just say it's a month earlier, but it's actually 3 weeks earlier. And, you know, the main reasoning behind that is there's just so many other events happening in June. And we have a lot of people that always say, oh, I wish I could go to Cinetopia, but, you know, it's the same time as, you know, the Grand Prix or like a big grilling fundraiser that happens in Ann Arbor, or, you know, it butts up to the Ann Arbor Summer Festival, or a lot of venues are just booked through that time. And also the auto show is moving to June in 2020. So we were going to move it anyway, and we just decided to move it this year as kind of, you know, the way for us to get used to what it's like to run a festival in May. So far, most people that we've talked to are relieved that we are doing it in May because they're like, finally, I can go to Cinetopia.
And what was your role with the festival this year?
I am one of the directors of Cinetopia. I'm co-directing with Sarah Escalante, and Sarah and I bring two halves to this director role. My expertise is in the marketing and programming side, and her expertise is in operations, although she also has experience doing the marketing and programming side because she's worked at many different types of festivals all over the country.
What were some of the films that you saw throughout the year that you said, I have to make sure that this gets into Cinetopia?
For me personally, I have a programming lead on staff. He does programming for the Michigan Theater. So Nick Aldring, he's actually seen every single movie that we've shown, and he goes to Sundance and other film festivals. The one film that I saw through my limited festival attendances would be one that made it into the program this year, and it was called Time Trial. And it's this really intriguing documentary about professional cycling and how people go through these time trials to qualify for the Tour de France. And this documentary follows David Miller, who was caught doping, and he got one of his titles stripped because he was doping. And this follows him in his kind of like last chance to get into the Tour de France clean. And so you kind of go behind the scenes, you're on his bike or you're next to him, and you kind of see that there's this whole community between the racers, and, you know, they'll be cycling up next to each other trying to get their best time, but they're also kind of having side conversations, asking, you know, like, oh, where did you summer? Oh, okay, well, I'll see you later, bye. You know, it's just a really, really different look into the world of cycling. And I don't cycle myself, but I just thought it was really fascinating. And I think there's a huge community of people that do cycle that would be really interested in this documentary.
I noticed you're showing a lot of movies with Lily Taylor in them.
The University of Michigan Screen Arts and Culture, they do an annual symposium called the Makers and Mavericks, and they honor a filmmaker every single year. And so last year they honored Alan Rudolph, and we showed 3 of his films. And this year they're honoring Nancy Savoca. And Nancy Savoca is the director of Dogfight and Household Saints, and we're also showing Dirt.
Are you kind of partnering up with the Jewish Film Festival as well?
Yes, every single year the Jewish Film Festival rents out our theaters and they put on their Jewish Film Festival. This year, it just so happened that their film festival also coincides with when our film festival is, and we had talked about whether we should keep it separate or if it would be beneficial to both film festivals to kind of join forces, similar to how we partner with the Arab Film Festival. Because we moved our festival up 3 weeks, the Arab Film Festival couldn't change their dates because of Ramadan, so they are keeping their June dates. And so we kind of are now also partnering with the Jewish Film Festival. We decided it would be great to be able to combine our resources, and our audiences will have more opportunities to watch really great films. So it was a really great process working with Karen at the Ann Arbor Jewish Community Center. And, the films that she programmed to be included are also films that we would have also enjoyed to include into Cinetopia. And actually, we have one film that is a Jewish-centric film that did not make it into their programming, but we really loved it, so we included it in the Cinetopia program. And so people who sponsor the Jewish Film Festival, they also get access to Cinetopia films and vice versa.
Well, tell me about your venues. I know, of course, that you play at the Michigan Theater and the State Theater. Where else are you playing films this year?
One of our other larger venues where we're going to show a lot of films is the Imagine Theater in Royal Oak. We have a really great and new partnership with them, and we actually have 4 screens for 4 days at the second half of Cinetopia. So we're really excited to be able to show, like 120 screenings of films there. The other venues, we are also continuing to be at Cinema Detroit, which is in downtown Detroit. And the Senate Theater, we're going to use them for 2 days. That's kind of like they're doing a lot of renovation to kind of bring back the facade of the Senate Theater. The inside of the theater is really pretty. They've already done a lot of work inside. They have a Wurlitzer organ inside. And, they're trying to bring back that area, that neighborhood in Detroit back to its glory. We decided that it would make a lot of sense to put our Detroit Voices short film competition to exhibit at the Senate Theater. And we're also doing a panel for filmmakers, a free panel to talk about DIY distribution and other distribution stories. It's really exciting for us to be able to do Detroit Voices at the Senate Theater and have this new venue that a lot of our audiences haven't been to before. It's very exciting for us. And then besides the Senate Theater, we're also going to be back at the Maple Theater. So we've worked with them before as a venue. We weren't able to do it with them last year, but this year we're able to work with them. And so we're going to be showing 3 films, 3 days, May 13 to May 15. And they're really excited to work with us. Some of the films that we're putting there are going to probably be really big hits. So that's also going to be really awesome. And we're also back at University of Michigan's Angel Hall. They have their auditorium. They have one that is DCP capable, which is the format that a lot of the new films are on nowadays.
Well, when you say things that are going to be big hits, I imagine something like a Framing John DeLorean is going to play at the Maple.
That film is actually already on standby. We're going to be showing it in the Maple Theater's largest screen, and already it's on standby, which means that we have half of the capacity held for pass holders, and then we sell the other half for advanced tickets. So all the advanced tickets have already been sold. And so what that means is people who want to, see this movie will show up. If they don't have a pass, they'll wait in the standby line. And after the pass holders are seated at 15 minutes before screening, whatever seats are remaining, we're going to start selling for. That one will definitely sell out. That is one of 2 screenings for Framing John DeLorean that's going to happen during Cinetopia. The other one, that's going to happen at the Michigan Theater on, I think, May 11th. And we're excited because one of the producers, Tamir Arden, he's going to be in attendance to do the Q&A, and he's also known as the DeLorean historian, and he's helping us get some DeLoreans to park around the theaters. So people will get a chance to take pictures with a real DeLorean.
Yeah, who else do you have coming to the festival this year?
A lot of exciting people who made really great films. Not a lot of them are super famous. Like last year we had Bo Burnham, who was pretty famous around certain circles. This year we have probably, I think, about 30 people in attendance. Some really cool people that I'm really looking forward to meeting are Alex Horowitz. He directed this documentary called Autonomy, which is actually our closing night film. I'm really interested in meeting him and also Eddie Alterman, who is currently the chief brand officer at Hearst Autos. He used to be the editor-in-chief of Car and Driver magazine, and so he actually works locally. I'm not actually sure if he lives locally. The two of them are coming for the film Autonomy, and I saw the screener for Autonomy, and I thought the documentary was just really well made and really touched upon all of the possible things that you could think about with autonomous vehicles and, the history, where we are currently, and, where it's going, including, like, the ethical implications of autonomous vehicles. Like, it was just a really well-made story, and I think it's amazing that Alex was able to kind of put all of that together in a way that is easily understandable by the general public. My husband works in autonomous vehicle controls, and I watched it with him, and afterwards he said, yeah, I mean, I know all of this stuff. And I was like, so does that mean you like the movie or you don't like the movie? And he said, no, it was good. He says, I think it's a movie that would be really great for my parents to watch to get them to kind of understand what an autonomous vehicle means. Okay, I think that's a good thing, what you're saying.
Right, so you don't get those awkward questions at holidays. What is it that you do exactly?
Right. Or, like people think autonomous vehicles, like that'll never happen. And it kind of, this documentary sort of explains that, like, it's kind of already happening in your vehicles. You just don't know it. And one of the things, and I think the documentary really gives you these different perspectives. Like, for example, right now you think about autonomous vehicles and you're like, I would never let, I would always drive forever. I would never let a machine control my driving. And then, in the documentary, they say, a long time ago, a person operated the elevator. You got into an elevator and someone manually took you up and down. And then when they switched to automatic elevators, for a long time, they still hired an attendant to just stand in the elevator with you, pressing the buttons, because it made people feel safe. And then nowadays, you would freak out if you got into an elevator where someone was manually controlling the elevator.
I am very excited to see Making Montgomery Clift.
That film, Martin Van Dyke is also very excited about it because he was also a very huge Montgomery Clift fan. I'm very excited for both of the directors to come to one of the screenings. Hilary Demon and Robert Clift, so he's Montgomery Clift. I'm not exactly 100% sure if he's a grandson or son or nephew. You have to look that up for me, but both of them will be in attendance.
Did you see Phonotune?
I did not see Phonotune, but I heard that it is very quirky. The director of the film, I think his name is Fint, he was not able to come, but he made a really cute introductory video for us that it'll be a message for people that are seeing this film. But I know the programmers who did see the film, they're very excited to show this film to everyone.
I tend to enjoy the more quirky, midnight movie-esque kind of stuff. Do you have any recommendations for those?
Phonotune's a really good one. Killing God is a black comedy horror film. It's in Spanish. It's made by two Spanish directors, and they're also coming for one of the screenings. I think it's on the second weekend. I think that one's going to be really interesting. There's another one, Them That Follow. I heard a lot of really good things. I think that film's probably going to get a wider release later on. It has a really great cast, and it's just done really well, and it's about a cult that worships snakes. So if you have a snake phobia, do not see that movie.
Like the Pentecostals?
Our lead programmer, he says his favorite film is this documentary called Mr. Jimmy, and it's about this Japanese guy that kind of embodies the performing soul of Jimmy Page. He kind of dresses up like him, and he acts like him, and he performs all of his live concerts exactly the way that Jimmy Page would have performed it. We tried really hard to see if we can get him to come, and it almost happened, and in the end, it didn't work out.
We talked a little bit about some of the live events, the panels, those kind of things. Are there any other events going on that people should be aware of?
We normally have 3 or 4 parties. Our parties usually have filmmakers that will come. Our opening night party is going to be before the opening night film, which is Before You Know It. And I'm actually really excited about our opening night film because it just embodies the word delightful. It talks about the conflict between these 2 sisters and these weird family dynamics. But then it just really, you leave feeling really great. And the main actresses, the 2 people that play the sisters, they're coming. They're also the co-writers. And Hannah, the main actress, she's the director of the film. And I saw her and her film when I went to Cleveland, and just hearing her talk in the Q&A that she did there, I just thought, this is going to make for a great panel after the film, because I think a lot of people are going to have similar questions and, ask her, because it's very rare when you can ask a director about an actress's experience too, but because she's the director and she's the main actress, and because this is her first feature-length film that she has made and acted in, she can answer a lot of questions and give you a lot of insight on this reason for the character choice or that reason for this, scene setup, because she has done it all. The other big event that we're doing is our closing night. Our closing night is, I mentioned the film is Autonomy, and it's actually not really at night. It's at 2 p.m. But after the film and the Q&A with the director and the producer, we're going to have our closing night party at M-City, which is the first autonomous vehicle test track proving grounds in the world. And the University of Michigan, along with partnered with other companies to build this facility. It's closed off to the public. It's mainly used for companies and for the university to, test the vehicles that they've been working on, and it's very rarely open to the public. I was able to go to M-City when they first opened because I mentioned my husband's in the field, so we went to the special event. But really, not often do you get to check out what M-City is all about. And M-City is this. It's like a fake town. It has a fake downtown that's made to kind of look like Ann Arbor. And then it has a section that looks like a highway. It has a section that kind of simulates different weather conditions. There's lights, there's stop signs, there's fake fire hydrants, trash cans. It just looks like a town, but it's deserted and it's just enclosed. And so we were like, let's do a block party at M-City. So we're sort of designing this party like an Ann Arbor street party, the Violin Monster confirmed that he can be there. And we're going to have food trucks, and there's going to be live entertainment. And then we're also going to provide self-guided tours around M-City. Some companies that we're working with are going to bring vehicles to display, and then they can talk to people about the autonomous features that they've been working on and kind of answer any general public questions about what's going on.
How big is that place? I
want to say it's 22 acres, 22 or 23 acres, and it's completely enclosed. And it's right below the water tower on Plymouth Road that has the clouds on it. It's right next to that.
You mentioned Before You Know It, and also that you'll be having the symposium about Nancy Savoca. Did you try to make a real effort to get more female filmmakers into the spotlight this year?
When we go through our process of programming, we always look at the films first. And then when we start narrowing things down, because there's just so many great films out there, when we start narrowing down, we do make a conscious effort to include different voices, voices of women, of LGBTQ topics, just to make sure that it's a well-rounded program. And this year we do have a lot of female directors. I believe there are 8 films that are LGBTQ-centric. One of them that we're really excited about is called Man-Made, and it's a documentary about transsexual bodybuilding. And 2 of the on-screen subjects are going to be in attendance to one or the other screening. So you'll have a different Q&A experience depending on which screening you go to. And that's just a really fascinating documentary, and I'm sure people are just going to love the documentary and then just have a lot of questions, and they have the ability and the access to talk to these people and who this is their life that you're watching on screen.
Do you think they will do body presses and stuff if you request that?
I don't know. Maybe take off their. I think I watched some of the documentaries of when Arnold Schwarzenegger used to do it, and I think they do like a lot of prep before they actually flex for people. You got to like fast and then do like a bunch of push-ups and then do the tanning and the baby oil. Yeah.
Ariel, where's the best place for people to go to find out more information and pick up a pass for this year's festival?
You can find our full schedule and full list of films by going to cinetopiafestival.org. And you can buy a pass online as well, or you can come to the Michigan Theater. We will start selling passes starting next week in person. During the festival, you can purchase a pass at the Imagine Theater when we are at Imagine, and also at the Michigan Theater when we're in Ann Arbor. But you can always go to cinetopiafestival.org to buy a pass. And this year, one thing that we're doing new is that we have a concierge phone line, and you can call this phone number to buy passes, buy tickets, redeem 4-packs that you've purchased, or just ask for movie recommendations. Like, which one should I see? I want to see this one or this one. Which one would you recommend? So it's a really great new thing that we're doing this year that I think will help navigate this festival, because what we found is there's a lot of films to see, and sometimes you need a little help, and we are here to help you. And the phone number for that is 734-668-8397, and ask for extension 35.
Well, Ariel, thank you so much for your time tonight. I appreciate this.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Fear not. Directly over the city of Ann Arbor, a huge extraterrestrial vehicle is now hovering. Why? We have come to Ann Arbor to interrupt your flow of redundancy by bringing you the scream from another time, from another galaxy, from another solar system. There exists the interplanetary empire, where we watch over the universe. And early 77, electromagnetic beams were projected into the universe from a city in the vicinity of A Square, and with the combined vibe of A Square, T-Town, Pontiac, East Lansing, and other notables, and Detroit. The interplanetary empire was contacted, and we were notified of the oblivious musical structure of Earth and your world. On this night in Ann Arbor, for the first time in 5 years, we bring you the Scream. The Scream will give you a complete and total body buzz, causing you to break out and jam even when you don't give a damn. For the next few hours, you will be under radio surveillance. I will now begin my final descent down to Earth. decided not to fly in. We're just gonna hover, look down at you, and then hover. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Ann Arbor? Ypsilanti? Are you cool? Don't say damn. Say whoa.